October 1784. On the deck of the flagship Les Louis, the ship's cook stirs a giant kettle of soup, dreaming of dinner. One cannonball later, the kettle explodes. Soup rains over the deck, and the mighty imperial flagship immediately surrenders to a single Dutch ship. That one shot was the entire battle. Total casualties, one soup kettle. This is the Kettle War, history's most pathetic armed conflict. To understand how dinner became a war casualty, meet the real main character of this story, a river in Belgium called the Scheldt. The Scheldt connects the open sea to Antwerp, which was once the richest trading port in northern Europe. In 1585, during their war against Spain, the Dutch closed the river completely and later wrote that closure into a permanent peace treaty. Every ship bound for Antwerp, blocked. Every merchant, rerouted to Amsterdam, which by total coincidence became the richest city on planet Earth. So, for over a century, Antwerp, a world-class port, just sat there watching the empty water, like a retired racehorse parked beside a highway. Enter Emperor Joseph II, ruler of Austria, the Holy Roman Empire, and therefore also of Belgium, then called the Austrian Netherlands. Fun facts about Joseph: brother of Marie Antoinette, superfan of Enlightenment philosophy, and owner of history's most dangerous personality trait. The man read one book and decided to fix absolutely everything at once. Serfdom, abolished. The church, reformed. Hungary now speaks German. You're welcome. Then one day, he looked at the map of his empire and saw it. A closed river. His river. "Open it," he said. His advisors gently reminded him the closure was written into an international treaty. Joseph gently reminded them that he was the emperor. Now, the Dutch Republic was no longer the superpower it had once been. It had just lost a naval war against Britain. Badly. So Joseph made a bet. He would sail his ships straight down the Forbidden River and dare the Dutch to do something about it. Surely, he reasoned, nobody would start an actual war over one merchant ship passing through. Surely. Remember that word? October 8th, 3 imperial ships enter the Scheldt, led by Les Louis, carrying cargo, a very confident captain, and one large kettle of soup. Waiting downstream sat a single Dutch warship, the Dolfijn, with orders to stop them. The Dutch fired exactly one warning shot. And that single cannonball, this is genuinely documented, flew across the water and landed directly in the soup kettle on Les Louis' deck. Covered in his own dinner, the captain surrendered on the spot. Total combat time, 1 cannonball. The rest of the fleet turned around. Marks right to his Spain year, ni novi mazord of the Lesurton ed with the late. Never fight a nation that has spent 800 years arguing with the ocean. Their aim was fine. It was simply aimed at dinner. Back in Vienna, Joseph was humiliated. So he declared real war on the Dutch. A proper one this time, with actual armies. The Austrian troops marched north and seized a small fort. The Dutch response? They opened their own dikes and flooded their own countryside. The roads turned into soup, which feels poetic, and the glorious imperial invasion became a very cold, very wet camping trip. In the end, almost nobody actually fought anybody. France stepped in to mediate the peace, mostly to make sure nobody else would. The Treaty of Fontainebleau, 1785, and the results are truly magnificent. The river? It stayed closed. But Joseph received 10 million florins in compensation, and France quietly paid nearly half of it just to end the meeting early. So the emperor started a war to open a river, failed to open the river, and got paid consolation money by a completely different country. Antwerp's river finally reopened 10 years later when French revolutionaries marched in and simply stopped asking anyone for permission. The kettle remains the only confirmed casualty of the entire war. 100% soup mortality. Subscribe for more wars won by kitchenware.